This wasn't supposed to happen. Monday Night Raw just witnessed something so violent, so uncontrolled, so absolutely catastrophic that both Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman are in actual hospitals right now, and WWE might be facing the biggest crisis in recent memory. Forget the script, forget the storylines. What happened on Raw crossed every single line, shattered every boundary, and left the entire wrestling world demanding answers, demanding justice, and questioning whether WWE has completely lost control of its own show. If you're not angry after hearing what went down, you're not paying attention. The chaos erupted without warning, which somehow makes it even more infuriating. Raw was moving along through its scheduled programming when suddenly backstage cameras caught absolute pandemonium, shouting, crashing, the sounds of destruction that immediately made everyone watching realize this wasn't part of the show. Production scrambled, commentary went silent, and when the feed finally stabilized, what we saw was carnage that no amount of storytelling could justify. Bron Breakker, WWE's most explosive young powerhouse, was laid out in a hallway, barely conscious, bleeding from somewhere the cameras couldn't quite identify. Medical personnel were already swarming, but the attack was still happening. And then the camera panned, and our worst fears materialized. Paul Heyman, the legendary manager, the voice of a generation, was down too, crumpled against a wall in a position that looked completely unnatural, clutching his ribs, his face contorted in agony that wasn't performed. The attackers? Still not definitively confirmed, and that's where this situation goes from shocking to absolutely rage-inducing. WWE cut to commercial immediately, leaving millions of viewers in stunned confusion, social media exploding with panic and speculation, and absolutely zero official information about what the hell just happened or why. When Raw returned from commercial, Adam Pearce was in the ring, and you could see he was barely holding it together. His hands were shaking, his voice cracked before he even started speaking. "We have a situation," he began, and those 4 words carried more weight than any scripted promo could ever achieve. Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman have been taken to local medical facilities. The attack you witnessed was not sanctioned, not approved, and those responsible will face consequences. But here's the question that's tearing the wrestling community apart right now. Who was responsible? Drop your theories in the comments because the speculation is running wild and nobody has concrete answers. The lack of clarity is what's making this unbearable. In the age of social media, instant updates, and constant communication, WWE has gone almost completely dark on details. No official statement beyond Pearce's brief announcement, no identification of the attackers, no update on the severity of injuries. Just silence, and that silence is deafening. What we do know from eyewitness reports, from people who were in the arena, is that this wasn't a typical wrestling beatdown. This was violent in ways that made even hardened wrestling fans uncomfortable. Multiple weapons were reportedly used. The attack lasted several minutes before security could intervene. And most disturbingly, both Bron Breakker and Paul Heyman required actual medical attention, not the theatrical kind where someone gets stretchered out and returns next week perfectly fine. Bron Breakker being targeted makes a twisted kind of sense within wrestling logic. He's young, dominant, destroying everyone in his path, accumulating enemies faster than championships. But Paul Heyman, a manager, a non-wrestler in his 50s who's already dealing with health concerns that have kept him off television? Attacking Heyman isn't just crossing a line, it's obliterating every code of conduct that exists in professional wrestling. The brutality of including Heyman in this assault has fans legitimately furious. Social media is on fire with people demanding releases, firings, lawsuits, criminal charges. The hashtag Justice for Heyman has been trending worldwide for hours. Wrestling journalists are calling this the most irresponsible angle in years. Former wrestlers are breaking their usual code of silence to publicly criticize whoever orchestrated this. Here's another question for the comments. Should there be limits to what's acceptable in wrestling angles, even if they're designed to generate heat? Let me know where you stand because this debate is exposing major divisions in the fan base.
The attack's aftermath revealed just how serious this situation truly is. Multiple sources are reporting that Bron Breakker suffered a potential concussion along with various lacerations that required immediate stitches. The images that leaked from backstage before WWE could contain them showed blood that wasn't the result of blading or Hollywood effects. This was real trauma from real violence. Paul Heyman's condition is even more concerning and frankly terrifying given his age and existing health issues. Reports indicate possible broken ribs, potential internal injuries, and the kind of physical trauma that could sideline someone permanently. For a man who's been battling health problems, who the WWE Universe was already worried about, to be subjected to this level of violence is beyond unconscionable. WWE's medical staff reportedly called for actual ambulances, not the staged ones used for storyline purposes. Both men were transported to separate hospitals, which only added to the confusion and panic. The crowd in the arena had no idea what was happening beyond what they saw on screens, and the genuine concern in their reactions proves this crossed into territory that fans weren't prepared for. What makes this exponentially more infuriating is the timing. Raw has been struggling with ratings, Creative has been criticized for being stale, and now, in what reeks of a desperate attempt to create buzz, someone decided that hospitalizing two performers was an acceptable way to generate attention. If this was a calculated decision by WWE Creative, it's one of the most reckless, irresponsible choices in company history. The suspects, based on camera angles and witness accounts, seem to point towards a group that's been lurking in WWE's mid-card, frustrated with their positioning, angry about being overlooked. But WWE's refusal to officially confirm identities suggests either legal concerns or a storyline that's spiraling beyond their control. Neither option is acceptable. Think about this for a moment. What kind of environment has WWE created where performers feel the need to go this far? What kind of creative desperation leads to actual hospitalization being used as a plot device? And most importantly, what accountability exists when things go too far? Comment below. Do you think this attack was a work that went too far, or a shoot that WWE is trying to spin into a storyline? Your theories matter because none of us have the full truth yet. The locker room response has been telling. Multiple wrestlers have posted cryptic messages that seem to condemn the attack without directly naming anyone. There's clearly tension behind the scenes, a sense that boundaries were violated, that something happened Monday night that broke the unwritten rules that keep this business functioning. Bron Reigns, who's been closely associated with Heyman for years, posted and then quickly deleted a message that appeared to threaten direct retaliation. The Bloodline members have been ominously quiet, which historically means they're planning something explosive. If this attack was designed to start a war, congratulations, it worked. But at what cost? Bron Breakker's family, the legendary Steiner wrestling dynasty, has released a statement through their attorney demanding a full investigation and promising legal action if WWE doesn't provide satisfactory answers. Rick Steiner reportedly showed up at WWE headquarters demanding to see Vince McMahon, Triple H, anyone who could explain how his nephew ended up in a hospital. The Steiner family doesn't make empty threats. They've been in this business long enough to know when something crosses from performance to assault. Their involvement elevates this from a wrestling angle to a potential legal nightmare for WWE. Paul Heyman's family has been even more vocal, and rightfully so. His children have expressed outrage on social media, questioning how WWE could allow their father, who's already vulnerable health-wise, to be put in a situation where he'd suffer additional trauma. They're demanding answers, demanding accountability, and threatening legal action that could expose WWE to serious liability. Here's what nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone's thinking. What if this ends Paul Heyman's career? What if the injuries are severe enough that he can never return? The wrestling world already faced that scare recently, and now we're right back in that nightmare scenario. Except this time it's not health issues, it's violence that could have been prevented. The silence from WWE corporate is absolutely maddening. No official press release, no statement from Triple H as head of creative, no tweet from official WWE accounts beyond the basics. Just radio silence while 2 people are in hospitals and millions of fans are demanding explanations. This cowardice, this refusal to address the situation transparently makes everything worse. It fuels conspiracy theories, it enables speculation, it leaves fans feeling disrespected and ignored. If WWE has nothing to hide, if this was all carefully planned and controlled, why not?